The bike has opened up a whole new world for me in New York. The city I've been living in for 9 years. I'm not mixed up with the chaos when I'm on the bike. I feel like I'm the observer now, which I really enjoy being. I have been able to get out of the city whenever I want. I no longer have to rely on public transportation to get me somewhere. I've made so many new friends on the bike, and I've also rekindled some old connections. It's been a really great way for me to rediscover what New York has. The main thing I think about when I think about Oklahoma is my family. And my family is very huge, and we all get together when I go home. I have a very warm spot in my heart for Oklahoma because of them. Of course, I still have tons of friends there, and I've made new ones even since I left 10 years ago. My uncle has been a bike enthusiast for my entire life, and I guess his entire life. I must have been around 8 years old. I don't remember when I first got on his bike, and we went really fast. He turned a corner and we came probably a foot away from the ground, and I couldn't believe that we didn't just fall over onto the pavement. And I was really scared but super thrilled at the same time. And ever since then, I have been drawn to motorcycles. I just decided that if it wasn't going to work out, I'd be back in 2 months and nothing to lose. So I always wanted to work at the UN. The next day after moving here, I literally walked up to the information booth and asked them how I go about getting a job here. It was kind of scary to move to New York, but a month and a half after I moved here, I started working at the United Nations. A week out of every year in September, all the United Nations members come to New York to speak, and so I was working in the office that facilitates the meetings. And I was meeting all these heads of state, and I have pictures with all of these people: George Bush, Condoleezza Rice, Tony Blair, Vincent Fox, people, I'd never even imagined in a million years that I would come into contact with. It was very exciting for me and for my family. But since then, I've been dealing with the public transportation in New York City for 9 long years. Getting into Manhattan from Williamsburg in Brooklyn is pretty much a nightmare. There's one train, one line that connects Williamsburg to Manhattan. You are crushed, hurted, you don't have any control over what's going on. There's constant noise, and it's impossible to find peace. When I get out of work and I get on the bike and I head home on the FDR and cross the bridge into my neighborhood, it's just like I forget about the stress of my day. I'm not fighting people to do anything. I just go. But when I get attention on the street, whether I'm stopped at a stoplight and someone's talking to me because I'm on a bike, which is really cool because nobody just walks up to you and starts talking to you on the street unless they want your money. So they want to talk to me about my bike, and I just find these conversations so interesting, whether they're telling me a story about a bike that they used to ride or whether they're just complimenting me on my bike. These conversations I have periodically are a totally new experience for me in New York City. I can't imagine my life without the bike. It's just such a big, important part of my life now.
In 2001, I packed my bags, I sold everything I have, and I hopped on my first motorcycle, which was a 1986 Honda Super Sport. I hopped on that motorcycle and then went for my first cross-country motorcycle trip. And halfway through, in Wyoming, I crashed my bike, and the bike was completely destroyed. So I have two choices. I can either stop the trip or continue the trip. So I decided to buy a brand new bike at the shop. And I looked around and I saw a Triumph sitting on the showroom. It was a 1999 Thunderbird Sport. And I I saw the bike and I was like, you know what? That's gonna be my first time. I bought it on the spot, and I maxed my credit card. I bought the bike, and I continued my trip with that bike. I started collecting them because I just think that it's part of the riding aesthetics and also part of your personality. And I love to collect vintage style helmets. I've done 5 cross-country motorcycle trips with my Triumph. I did the US 3 times, I did Canada twice. I guess the furthest trip I've done would be from New York to California, down the coast, and back. That was 9,000 miles. I've been riding a motorcycle for 14 years, and the reason why I started riding is because I just love the open road. I love to zip around New York City and park anywhere. And from that point on, I started to travel further, and I just fell in love with owning and having a motorcycle and riding a motorcycle. It became